Cards during my break in a mirror match against Ben Schwartz. He's playing the Kibler Predatory Ooze green-black aggro deck.
Who won your mirror match?
Person on the play won both games. Ben won the
okay.
first and I won the second
Very
one.
telling.
Predatory Ooze on the play is very challenging for the other Predatory Ooze deck to beat.
As we do see an Uvenwald tracker here from Josh Cho, the Fight Club bear, as it were. On Trevor's side, he is playing black-red zombies. This is about as stock as it gets, honestly, Patrick. He has the normal 4 ofs with 4 Jarls Messenger of Diregraph Ghoul, Knight of Infamy, and Gravecrawler, along with Falconwrath Aristocrat, 3 Hellrider, 3 Thundermaw Hellkite, and then 4 Pillar of Flame, 4 Searing Spear, 2 Brimstone Volley, and lands. This is super stock.
Yep. So Josh off to a great start with Ulvenwald Tracker and Strangleroot Geist. Strangleroot Geist is going to be the Pillar of Flame. Ulvenwald Tracker, one of the, it's sort of a slept-on card. It's been the Green Sun target at various times. But in here it has a couple awesome synergies, most notably with Predatory Ooze, which is just a soft lock against most attacking decks. And also with Deadbridge Goliath, because it is a 5/5 and therefore larger than most other things.
Yeah.
So that is what passes as a combo deck in Brian Kibler land.
Yeah. As we are going to see a Dragon Skull Summit here, and we've seen this before. It is a turn 3 Dross Messenger here for Trevor. It's going to knock Josh down to 18. Josh basically playing a mono green deck right now. He's going to need some sort of black mana to go with that Lotleth Troll that he has just drawn for the turn.
And this is one of the challenges of the green-black aggro deck is the mana is not awesome. In fact, there's 3 copies of Golgari Guildgate alongside the expected Overgrown Tomb and Woodland Cemetery trying to piece things together. This deck can't really play Cavern of Souls effectively because there's so many different creature types.
Yeah.
And you're seeing that obviously right now as Josh is shuffling around a hand of multiple black cards.
So we are going to see a Knight of Infamy here, pre-combat for Trevor. Of course, for the Exalted Trigger to make Dross Messenger a 4/3 coming on in.
But what you see Cavern momentarily.
What you saw there, though, Patrick, is you did not see one of the awesome turn 4 plays from this deck. It was not a Hellrider and it was not a Falconwrath Aristocrat, but we did see in Trevor's hand a Thundermaw Hellkite.
That's where a lot of the power of the red-black zombie deck comes from. Is the 4 and 5s are just very powerful. Charles Messenger is no slouch either. So I think Josh trying to figure out if he wants to trade this tracker for a Knight of Infamy. Not the most awesome draw from that we've seen from the green-black aggro deck.
Josh decides, all right, I'm going to get in there, get another point of damage in. We do see a Tragic Slip. We also see a Arbor Elf coming down here. And what you find basically in Josh's hand are a lot of black cards and no black mana. And I know that Brian's deck, it has a healthy amount of black mana sources between Woodland Cemetery, Overgrown Tomb, and Golgari Guildgate. There are at least 12.
Yeah, it's 1 Swamp, 3 Guildgate, 4 Tomb, 4 Cemetery.
Okay.
And he's going to Searing Spear the tracker in response.
So we see Trevor draw his card. He does draw another Knight of Infamy for the turn. Not quite sure if he has the 5th land for the dragon. And he does not. He does have a Brimstone Volley instead of that 5th land. So still 3 very good cards nonetheless.
Yeah. He's in that desirable position as a beatdown deck where spell's awesome and a land's awesome.
Yeah. We see another Knight of Infamy post-combat here. A bit of a misstep there, I believe, by attacking with the Dross Messenger, getting the trigger, and then playing a Knight. So missing 1 point of damage with Exalted, but still looks to be in the driver's seat here as you see Josh has drawn an Overgrown Tomb, and he's going to have to pay 2 to use it.
Yeah, pretty awesome here. He has the Arbor Elf, so he can actually make 2 black mana this turn.
As we are going to begin with a Lotleth Troll, and he is just going to pass the turn back. One thing that Josh is able to do, Patrick, as you said, he can produce 2 black mana, but that black will help to regenerate the Lotleth Troll if it does get down to that.
I think Trevor's just drawn Falconwrath Aristocrat. Actually, which is actually okay for Josh because he's drawn Tragic. He has Tragic Slip at the ready.
Sure. And then on the screen, you guys do see Lotleth Troll, one of the more talked about cards from Return to Ravnica. I know that when it was initially spoiled, people couldn't believe that would make such a card. And while it hasn't really broken down the door as much as people would expect, it is still quite the powerful card, just waiting for the perfect metagame to just kind of destroy.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is that it requires a very specific deck to be powerful. Now that the card is low in power level. Very good once you have the right skeleton around it. So, pretty complicated block for Josh here, as he has access to Tragic Slip. He can regenerate his Troll. He has at least one creature in his hand he could theoretically pump the Troll with, and so a variety of ways for him to try to block, stave off some damage, and maximize the Tragic Slip in his hand.
And this is a pretty, safe attack here by Trevor, because we do know that he has Brimstone Volley in his hand. He could have played Falkenrath Aristocrat this turn and tried to serve in and, get a little tricky with sacrificing Drawless Messenger, sacrificing those Knight of Infamies, which are humans. But Brimstone Volley is representing 5 damage right now because something is going to die for one of these players in this attack.
Yeah. Definitely dangerous to play the Aristocrat here if you suspect that Tragic Slip could be a card in Josh's hand, because your board gets a little blown up here.
And now we are going to see Josh begin to discard some of the poorer cards in his hand right now, as he just wasn't able to get them out. So he definitely has some creatures he can discard. As you see, a Dread Mangler and a Lotleth Troll bite the dust.
So Josh is going to be able to... It appears as though he's going to be able to survive Brimstone Volley from this attack, falling to 6, but it's a very precarious board.
Yeah, you see Josh is going to go down to 6 life right now. Brimstone Volley can put him to 1.
And if I'm Trevor here, I'm happy to just fire off this volley.
Yeah, I think I agree with you as well. Just get this part of the game taken care of. Put my opponent down to 1, and we do see the Brimstone Volley here being cast, and we know that there's a Falkenrath Aristocrat in Trevor's hand, so it can even just come into play, sacrifice the Messenger to get those last 2 points of damage through.
Yeah, very, very hard for this to go wrong.
Yeah.
So now Josh contemplating what he wants to do with that Tragic Slip. He settles on nothing. And Josh in the tank here, but not really aware that he's actually just did the Aristocrat.
One of the things that I have noticed when playing against this black-red deck and covering it is always you are put in a situation as the opponent if you are trying to hope to fade a haste creature, which is just a miserable feeling. Just hoping they don't have one when they have so many in their deck and so many different ways to just deal you damage immediately with Drawless Messengers. So
yeah, in theory, Josh is getting in so he can block Messenger with Predatory Ooze and not kill it and Tragic Slip the Knight of Infamy, but Aristocrat.
Looks like that should close the door. As he says, all right, attack you with this.
Josh going to give it the old college try, but yeah.
So Trevor Eckhoff up a game with Black-Red Zombies against Joshua Cho. Josh just forcing him to kill his opponent, as you should do. Just make him finish you off. And that's exactly what Trevor was able to do. Now, I know that you, Patrick, have Josh's deck list in front of you. A pretty new deck here, of course, designed by Brian Kibler. What has Brian designed here to help Josh out in this matchup?
Well, he has Ranger's Guile, which can help against targeted removal. He has 2 copies of Grafdigger's Cage that can shut off some of the graveyard action that the zombie deck has. Another Tragic Slip, so he has another answer to Falkenrath Aristocrat. A Garruk Primal Hunter, and 3 copies of Deathrite Shaman if he expects the game to be sort of grindy. The life gain can matter. Having a way to burn out Trevor could be relevant if the board gets clogged down, and so he has a couple options afforded to him.
Okay. Taking a look at Trevor's deck list again, a pretty stock black-red zombies deck list. Some of the cards that we could see coming in here, Tragic Slip seems like it's a reasonable card in this particular matchup. Creatures trading back and forth, a bit of attrition, so it will be -13 quite a bit. You're also going to find here a couple copies of Blood Artist in an attrition matchup. That's the spot that you're going to want to be in. Vampire Nighthawk doesn't look so bad. And then 2 copies of Zealous Conscripts, which I don't think are going to be coming in here, but I wouldn't be surprised, as it does have some pretty nice targets in Deadbridge Goliath and Predator Ooze.
Yeah, he's got a couple big ones in the deck. And definitely this is a matchup where Blood Artist is pretty much custom made for.
Yeah.
There's a lot of removal going around in the matchup, a lot of creature combat, a lot of trading, and Blood Artist is just very well suited for that kind of battle. This is a card, if you've listened to me do commentary over the last, year or so, I feel like the card's been, very overplayed, inappropriate in a lot of decks or a lot of matchups, but this is definitely one where I feel like it has the potential to shine.
And I would be surprised to see Trevor leave that on the bench here, because I do echo your sentiments. This does seem like a home for this particular card. Now, we are very familiar with Black Red Zombies, of course, Patrick. It's a deck that's been having a lot of success over the past month and a half, 2 months around the standard format. Green Black Aggro, a deck designed by Brian Kibler that debuted in this particular tournament, we don't really know much about. Do you think this, and Brian, of course, designing this deck knowing that Black Red Zombie is a very popular deck, do you think this is the kind of deck that Green Black can prey on, the Black Red Zombies deck?
Well, certainly if the Green Black deck gets its shop set up, it's very well suited. You have, Tracker plus, Ooze. A lot of creatures, either because of regeneration or because of size, that are or durability, like Strangleroot Geist, it's very challenging for the Black-Red deck to handle efficiently, but he doesn't have a lot of time to get the shop set up.
Sure.
He's going to be under the gun. A lot of his key creatures are, possible to remove with some cheap removal spells. So, Kibler's confident in the matchup. If you've heard him talk during the deck tech, or you've spoken to him at all about the deck, he definitely feels comfortable in this matchup. As we saw that game, it just took, with Josh missing black mana, and even if he did have black mana that game, it wasn't like he had a bunch of high impact cards to save off the messenger.
Sure.
So I think the matchup is probably fine, maybe slightly favorable, but the Zombies deck, is definitely capable of just picking off the key creatures and flying over the top.
Yeah. I mean, flying is one of the great aspects of this deck, just being able to go over the top of cards like Thragtusk, and in this situation, Predator Ooze and Lotless Troll, and Deadbridge Goliath, being able to go over all of those heavy hitters on the ground is a really, really big deal here.
And that's you can see the removal spell selected for the main deck: 2 copies of Tragic Slip, 3 copies of Ultimate Price. Definitely trying to answer Falcon Wrath Aristocrat, Thundermaw Hellkite, Restoration Angel, because this deck doesn't have a bunch of very good answers to flying creatures otherwise. And so the removal definitely selected with that in mind. Josh, a little bit of the shivers here.
Yeah, I was going to say Josh is bundling up here. No, Travis Wu, Christmas sweater plus earmuffs. But, it's not a bad impersonation.
Yeah, no ski cap or whatever Travis Wu brings to the table. Josh, hoping for a hand with black mana a little bit faster this game, I suspect.
Well, he does keep his opener, so it's likely that he does have some here.
Got to get on the way. It's like Trevor. Okay, and we're good to go. Looks like Josh has drawn the Singleton basic Swamp in the deck, so he shouldn't have issues with his colored mana as he did last game. Although I suppose that he can't cast Predatory Ooze off that Swamp, so maybe a different source of color screw this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a little late to the party as we do see a Lotless Troll. This is a card that Zombies does have some problems with, just because it is a creature that can get too big too quickly, and it does regenerate. So depending on how many creatures Josh has in his hand, this can get out of control quickly.
And then even if Trevor had a card like Pillar of Flame here, there's still a risk that Josh says, all right, discard 2 creatures. Now I have a 4/3.
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah.
What
are you going to do about that? Yeah. And we do see the Rakdos Guildgate here. And Trevor just passing back. We do know that Josh has another force in his hand to go along with a Wolfir Avenger and a slew of other cards. And the card drawn for the turn looks to be an Overgrown Tomb.
Yep. So Josh, mulling over his activities, he's got to curve out, but he also wants to obviously protect this Lotless Troll, which has the potential to be a huge threat and be able to protect him in case Trevor mounts an offense on the ground. Trying to get a look at his hand here. Basic Forest. And this deck also plays 2 copies of Wolfhair Avenger, so
you must be careful.
There's an Arbor Elf and Deathrite Shaman.
That begs the question here, and we're learning more about this green-black deck as we go, of course, is who is the beatdown in this matchup? Who's the control deck? Those are the things that personally I'm not quite sure of. Who plays control better and who plays aggro better? Because of course Black Red Zombies doesn't block very well. But,
I think
can it play control and just get over through in the air?
Well, yeah, I think the Black Red Zombies deck is a bit more of the control deck in the matchup because Aristocrat and Hellkite are both very hard threats to answer. But the decks, both decks have the ability to either try to play a controlling game based on removal or tracker plus Predatory Ooze or Regenerates on the ground or what have you, and then switch gears into offensive mode pretty quickly.
As we do see a Arbor Elf exchange with a Gravecrawler here, it's going to be interesting to see if it was worth it to put those creatures out into play, especially that Arbor Elf when it looks like Josh has plenty of mana, or would have been better off making Atlas Troll a little bit larger.
Well, I think his hope here was that he would be able to just Deathrite Shaman the Gravecrawler out of the way. Or at least make Trevor use his mana kind of inefficiently.
But we see a Searing Spear take care of that. We see another Gravecrawler here from Trevor. So he's going to have a zombie in play to be able to bring that other one back as Josh is going to move on to his turn, and he draws a Woodland Cemetery.
So now he'll be able to attack with the Troll, play his Avenger inside of combat, leave up mana again to keep his Troll alive or protect it from removal. But we're going to go with the Ooze instead.
Ooze the boss.
Ooze the man. Trying to see if we have a Tragic Slip at the ready for that thing. And we do.
Down goes the Predator Ooze. One of the interesting things about Predator Ooze is with the influx of Tragic Slip, it is a card that is picking up for these Black Mirror matches as we see the Gravecrawler come back and the other one deal 2 points of damage. Is that Predator Ooze, it does need to get that one attack first.
Yes.
And then after it's able to do that, then things really do start, getting underway. But without that first attack, Tragic Slip, a card that's already becoming pretty prevalent in the format because of Falkenrath Aristocrat, takes care of the Predator Ooze as well.
Yeah, you need to just one shot, and then I can start taking
one
over.
Opportunity.
Yeah.
Would you take it? Or would you let it slip? And Josh has his hood up. Josh has his hood up. So that's interesting.
Yeah, just perfect. It's nice when you can just tie the room together sometimes. So I think there's 2 things he's mulling over. A, Garruk Relentless or Wolfhair Avenger. And then if Garruk Relentless, is he willing to put that Overgrown Tomb in his hand into play untapped? Or if he even plays Avenger, he may want to play that into play untapped so he has regeneration mana for both of his cards. So that Overgrown Tomb is adding a lot of complexity to this turn.
Yeah. You see Josh is just continually getting in with that Atlas Troll, not playing any defense, which I think is perfectly reasonable as we are going to see a mystery card.
I believe that's the Primal Hunter. Or sorry, Relentless rather.
Yeah, Legacy Specialist, Garruk Relentless here.
King of Legacy.
That's right. Can't not be stopped in the Bugmere, no matter how hard you try. Looking to take over Standard as we do see an Overgrown Tomb come into play tapped. Begs the question once again if that should be coming to play untapped so he can regenerate.
Well, I think the logic that Josh has here is if Trevor wants to use resources killing a troll this turn, he's totally fine with that because it means he's unlikely to also be able to kill the Garruk, and then the Garruk can take over the game.
Sure. Okay.
And, with Aristocrat, Josh said 16, but with Aristocrat and Thundermaw, Hellkite, and Hellrider, every point matters. He can't just be throwing away his life total he can't be reckless about his life total.
Of course. No, absolutely. And there you're
And
going to see a Dross Messenger now.
you can see Trevor just completely ignore Garrick and go directly at Josh.
And, I don't really think that there's much of a reason to really care about Garrick right now. It's not really doing a ton. Of course it is starting to pump out 2-2s, but at a rather slow rate. The fightability doesn't matter too much, but if he does choose to attack it, he could get himself into some trouble with the other side of the Garrick, the Veiled Cursed, being able to tutor up a creature.
Maybe go get, like a Dead Bridge Goliath, and then sack that thing to go get something else, and then scavenge on your ooze.
Yep.
So many wrinkles.
That's right. What can't Garrick Relentless do?
Dominator of the Legacy portion.
Yeah, we saw it.
Currently in play for Josh. Making some wolves. And yeah, even though Trevor's been sawing lands here, his board's very threatening, and he's got Hellrider in his hand. Now, the upshot to all of this, if you're Josh, is it's possible Trevor is just unaware of Wolfir Avenger as even being a threat.
Yeah.
So it's possible a Hellrider will just get run in. I think Josh just wants to take a defensive position for this turn, because if you make a wolf and then you assume your opponent isn't going to be aware of Avenger, then it's possible he makes a really an attack that plays out very poorly.
Sure. You see Josh getting in here with a wolf token. He is going to actually take care of that Gravecrawler here, flip over into the new Garrick, and now pass the turn back. Trevor draws his card, looking for land.
He sort of found one. I believe that was a Guild Gate.
The bane of my existence with this deck.
4X Rakdos Guild Gate.
Yeah, you need it, and you don't want it.
Yeah.
As we do just see Gravecrawler come back into play here. A bit interesting to see exactly how Josh's plan is going to work out here.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't think Trevor can make much of an attack at this point. I mean, he still might chip in, which would be great for Josh, because he might think, well, if he blocks the Messenger, that's fine because he comes in for 2 and I get to connect with the Gravecrawler. If he blocks the Gravecrawler, then I get in for 3, but Avenger messes this up. So he's just going through his permutations. I think I would be willing to bet Trevor would not make this attack if he knew that Avenger was hanging out. We are about to find out.
And he makes his move. And with both of the zombies, you see Josh already willing to pounce here, as he's going to have enough mana to generate both of these creatures.
Brian Kibler special. He loves a Wolfir Avenger.
Well, he did say that it was great for him and Grand Prix San Antonio. And just a lot of people had forgotten that it existed, took a lot of creatures off guard, and he was really able to just take advantage of it. And I mean, a 3/3 for 3, nothing to ignore if you guys do see it on the left-hand side of the screen.
So yep, Josh going to regenerate both of his creatures. Messenger's going to come back as a 4/3. But Josh, with facing down all those Hellriders that are in Trevor's hand, doesn't have much time to actually close this game out.
No, he's got to get this game over with, and it's got to happen pretty soon here. Not only that, but you look at Trevor's hand as well, and you see a Pillar of Flame being moved to the front here. I'm not sure if there's a Searing Spear in there as well, but you do, and I think we definitely agree that this game needs to end quickly for Josh, as we're going to see a Pillar of Flame take out the Garrick.
And then Gravecrawler out of the graveyard.
Josh takes his draw step, not quite sure what we've found.
Yeah, the big question mark is he aware? Just drew a Dead Bridge Goliath.
How?
The big question is he aware exactly how much of a threat he's? Ooh.
Yeah, this
we
is
discarded the troll.
this is lethal. I'm pretty sure.
Wow. Fancy.
Yeah, because
So
plus
that's
one, plus one
6.
here, and then plus 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Just the perfect draw.
Very nicely done.
Josh Cho with the top of deck to take himself into a game 3 against Trevor Eckhoff and his zombies deck that could not find that crucial 4th land to be able to put the game on ice.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet. I was like, oh, he gets a 5/5 here. You know, that's a pretty good blocker. Allows him to make an attack this turn and still leave some stuff back. And it's like, oh, wait, no, never mind. That's just a +6 spot off through the troll.
Yeah.
Another Kibler combo.
That's how Brian gets it done, ladies and gentlemen.
Scavenged creature plus other creature.
Game.
Combo deck.
Game over.
High Tide Time Spiral. Infernal Tutor. Lion's Eye Diamond.
Or
Lotlo Troll. Deadbridge Goliath.
you choose.
You
choose.
It's all roughly the same thing.
As we do see both players shuffling up here, it doesn't look like there's going to be much of a change in sideboard. Josh is taking a look through his deck. Trevor looks pretty content. I mean, this is an interesting matchup, honestly. You know, this seems like the kind of the test to see if the green-black aggro deck is real or not, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you can't get through this thing, then you got to start over, right? It's
Yeah.
going to be all over the place. It's, you know, the red-black deck isn't particularly expensive to build. It's very powerful, consistent. You don't have to be a master to pilot with great proficiency, so you're just going to see it all over the place.
If you can't beat this, then take your deck and just throw it in the wood chipper, because it's time to start anew.
Yes.
Those Deadbridge Goliaths aren't that expensive anyway. Just chip away.
Go throw those Deadbridge Goliaths back in the 25-cent bin where you found them.
That's right.
Yeah, it doesn't look like other players really making much of a move to the sideboard here. And I think a lot of the matchup just depends on Josh's ability to find the right removal. Because I think if you watch that game, Josh is more than capable of winning on the ground. He's got big creatures, regenerators, some good tricks, all a good recipe for winning the game on the ground. The game in the air is where this deck is going to struggle, and Tragic Slip and Ultimate Price are his answers to that sort of fight.
Yeah.
So how many copies of those cards he's able to find is a big deal here.
That's going to be the telling point. As we see both players are shuffling up here. Again, Trevor actually is going back to the sideboard here. And, you know, it was kind of interesting how Josh ended up playing that game. You know, some of the plays were a little bit strange between, you know, taking the time to, you know, Garruk that Gravecrawler that he knew was going to end up coming back. And, you know, he kept being aggressive with Lothlith Troll. Kind of played Narbor Elf where I thought maybe he should have played it, you know, saved it to maybe pump up Lothlith Troll. He decided to play it in an attempt to trade, plus remove something in Deathrite Shaman. That plan got kind of blown up and was still able, you know, to take things down and was, you know, under some pressure, of course, from Trevor drawing a land, but in the end able to get the job done.
Well, I liked a lot of Josh's plays from the perspective of if Trevor's using mana, like once we're at the spot where Trevor has 3 mana, if Trevor is going to be using mana to break up a Deathrite Shaman or to make a trade in combat a little more favorable with one of his Gravecrawlers and rebuying it, it means he's not playing Hellrider or Falconwrath Aristocrat that turn.
Sure.
So I think Josh was willing to concede a little bit of equity with some of those exchanges in hopes of either making Trevor play inefficiently on the board if he wanted to play one of his 4s, or maybe cobble together some favorable trades, but not play Hellrider or Falconwrath Aristocrat.
Okay.
So I actually like the way that all those little exchanges, even though they looked bad on the board, if they allowed Josh to be confident that he wasn't going to be exposed to Hellrider or Falconwrath Aristocrat, I think those are totally legitimate paths to take. Yeah, it's when you're worried about the 4 and 5 mana stuff and your opponent's potentially at 4 or 5 mana, well, if you're willing to give up a little bit to prevent those cards from entering play, then that's not a bad path to take. Both players shuffling each other, getting ready for the 3rd and final game here.
Let's hope we can see Took 7 Carters duke it out.
Penultimate round of the Swiss here. Not too much longer to go before we hit our elimination rounds.
No, we got one more round after this, and then we're going to follow that bad boy up with a quarterfinals match. We'll be giving away 3 months of SCG Premium, and on our way to crowning Another champion.
Yep. So many champions. Everyone's a champion.
Yeah, everyone's a champion. You get a card. You get a card.
Todd Anderson, in fact, trying to be a back-to-back champion of our
Oh boy, if he
invitation.
defends the crown. If he defends the crown, oh my.
Yeah.
My, oh my.
It'll be a real barn burner in Roanoke, I'm
That's
sure.
right.
Todd back-to-backs.
Party hardy at the Star City Games Game Center. That's right.
Josh going back for 6 cards.
And Trevor looking content with his 7. I'm digging the Twitch TV shirt, by the way. I gotta say, I didn't know they had those. Kind of want one.
Is that just an ad for Twitch, or is that some specific stream?
No, just the Twitch. Yeah, just
Oh.
their website, Twitch.tv. Nothing crazy. Not a specific stream. Just their shirt, their logo.
Speaking of which, I understand that you're pretty active in the streaming community, such as it is.
From time to time, I've been known to stream a couple days a week. I show Inside Information every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Shameless plug. 4 to 7 p.m. Pacific time. I've been known to stream on occasion, you know, if I get bored, which I happen to get bored every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday between the hours of 4 to 7 p.m.
Roughly.
Pacific time, roughly, is when I get bored.
So during our break, I came back here. We were just kind of hanging out, and Cedric's, on his laptop, and he's actually watching a replay of his own shown, him just beating the crap out of some burn player with goblins.
No, I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I wouldn't do that.
The streamer's version of checking yourself out in the mirror. That's what I saw. Man, I look good.
Screw that guy who played Flame Rep, okay?
I look good. Look at my goblin lackeys triggering. I'm putting a ringleader into play. I am looking sharp.
It's not often you get to beat the burn deck with goblins, all right? So I wanted to replay it. Got to make sure the quality's good.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, Josh with the head scratch. That's not a look of a keep. He's keeping. He's keeping.
That is
All
a
right.
look of a confident man.
Is that the Josh Rabbits? I don't want to keep, and destroys his opponent on the turn like 3 or 4. I've fallen prey of that, as we do see a Digraph Ghoul and a Blood Crypt. Josh is going to untap his Overgrown Tomb. He draws a card. It's a Woodland Cemetery. We do see a lot with among other cards here. So let's see what Josh is able to cobble together.
Yep. And we see 2 Searing Spears in Trevor's hand, so we might have a Troll versus Searing Spear showdown.
Oh, challenge accepted.
Yes. A Dreg Mangler. Various other green-black creatures. All the markings of a Brian Kibler deck.
Golgari's Finest, Deathrite Shaman among them. So we see another Overrun Tune and a pass back. Trevor's going to take a draw step. He draws a Hell Rider. You also see a Dross Messenger there and a couple of spot removal spells in Searing Spear and Pillar of Flame.
Yeah, not a hand with all the powerhouses that Trevor would like. Certainly a very good hand, but Hell Rider much easier for the green-black deck to fight than Vulcan Wrath Aristocrat, which is just a nightmare.
Yeah, as we do see the attack for 2 with the Digraph Ghoul, and we're either going to see a Dross Messenger or a Vampire Nighthawk here, and that is the one I would lead out with, and that is the one that Trevor decides as well. In Dross Messenger, dealing Josh 2, and starting to threaten some attacks here the following turn.
I'm actually not sure that I'm a fan of that play in this matchup, because I think the odds that Messenger gets invalidated by something, whether it's Troll or Predatory Ooze, is very high.
Okay.
Your Nighthawk's almost guaranteed to hit next turn, but the same is not true of the Messenger, and you can see that now with...
Your round one appearance are listed or with your judge.
There with the Lotless Troll. Now we're going to see a Pillar of Flame here on the Deathrite Shaman. Josh asking, how many cards do you have, good sir? As we do see Deathrite Shaman get removed from the game. There it goes by Josh.
Let's see what's up next.
In come the Knuckleheads.
The Clowns.
Josh going to make an attempt to regenerate here. He actually does get the opportunity to trade with that.
Surprising we didn't see a Searing Spear in response.
Likewise, we're going to see a Pillar of Flame instead.
This could be 2 creatures. And then Trevor's in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah. Now Josh you see Josh cracking his knuckles there a little bit, making a decision on what he wants to do. Again, I'm a little surprised we didn't see a Searing Spear there either. This could come back to hurt him.
He's got Ooze plus Mangler in hand, 2 very good creatures. Is he willing to discard these to keep his troll around?
Yeah, Ooze is looking
All right, he's gonna let it go.
Ooze looking mighty fine right now too. We're gonna see a Woodland Cemetery here, and we see
Ooze the man.
Ooze
The man.
your daddy.
Ooze the boss.
And Predator Ooze is here. Does Trevor draw the 4th land? He does not.
Yep. And this is, again, where that Nighthawk deployment is starting to come back to him a little bit.
Well, he's a little late.
Trying to attack a Brian Kibler deck on the ground with black and red creatures is not a fight I would want to fight as a deck builder.
But to the air is where Trevor has decided to go, as we do finally see Vampire Nighthawk deployed. Josh, with a moment of reprieve now, going to be able to establish his board position a little bit more, depending on what he drew, and it looks like he's drawn a Rancor.
Rancor, combo with Predatory Ooze. As once it gets big, the only real answer to it is chump blocking. Another Brian Kibler combo. Dark Ritual, Yawgmoth's Will. Creature plus Rancor, yep.
And
Bang.
there is the Rancor. And Predatory Ooze is coming over. It will get the counter, and it's going to come across for 4.
Yep.
So can't stop, won't stop. And the big follow-up is Idreg Mangler. There comes the Golgari Guildgate.
So if he trades this Mangler in combat, then he has the mana to scavenge it onto the Predatory Ooze.
So it looks like we're in a racing situation here, as Trevor does draw a 4th land, a basic mountain for his Hell Rider, but we do know that he has some burn spells in hand in Searing Spear.
It's pretty rough to use your Hell Rider here, right? If you ship in everything, then Mangler trades with Hell Rider, you take some points, but that Ooze is coming back for quite a few points. So Trevor would hit for 8 this turn, down to 8, and then 5 left on board plus the Searing Spear in hand. So he does have lethal in 2 turns.
Yeah.
Based on what's in his hand.
Yeah, I think it's Josh that's in the rough spot here, not Trevor, by attacking with that Predator Ooze. And I understand it's pretty appealing to make that a 2 toughness creature to dodge Tragic Slip. There's the argument to be made of just leaving it back, putting a Rancor on it, leaving it back, so it can trade with some things, as we do see a Searing Spear here.
So we're setting up a big Hell Rider for next turn.
And then we see an attack here for 5 by Trevor. He's also going to gain 2 life from that, which is not inconsequential, putting himself up to 18. Josh draws his card for the turn.
It is a Strangleroot Geist, is that right?
It's either Strangleroot Geist or an Ulvenwald Tracker, as he's going to analyze the board position, trying to figure out how he can get himself out of this one.
I assume those trackers got sideboarded out. I would have to assume. But even if Josh has one additional blocker, he still dies because Hell Rider's 4 damage, and then at best two power creatures come through unblocked. So based on what's on the board here, even if Josh has a blocker, he still dies. Assuming Trevor remembers his Hell Rider triggers and whatnot.
Yeah.
And based on the way that... Alright, we're just scavenging on to our guy.
3 counters, move it up to 4. And Josh is going to get in here, and Josh is basically saying, all right, I hope you have nothing.
Yeah, he can beat... Playing this way, he can beat nothing.
Yes.
I mean, sorry, not he can beat nothing. If Trevor has nothing, then Josh can win this way.
Yes. So this is a situation where he's just hoping that his opponent has nothing. We know, and you guys do know home, that Trevor has one hell of a something.
Yeah.
As he draws another
There's Aristocrat, I think.
heck of a something.
Yeah.
Yes. In Falkreath Aristocrat. So there's going to be one of these haste creatures cast this turn.
I think Josh is going to lose it seeing this tank. Either card kills you.
Yeah. We do see Hell Rider, and that's going to do it.
Yeah.
That is going to do it. Trevor Eckhoff, moving on. Looks like he may be moving into top 8. I'm assuming these players are either X and O or X and 1. Was Black Red Zombies defeating Joshua Cho and his green-black Brian Kibler homebrew.
Back to the wood chipper with you, Bulgarian. We're sorry.
That's my wood chipper. It's also a motorcycle. I'm not one for sound effects.
Sure.
But I try anyway.
There is no harm in trying.
So congratulations again to Trevor Eckhoff. Looks like he'll be able to move into a situation where he'll be able to draw himself into the top 8 playing Black Red Zombies, which is, you know, the Cadillac of the format.
Yeah, it's funny. The format's still in the stage where people were talking, you know, Thragtusk, best card in the format. We moved away a little bit, and now amongst the best players, Sphinx's Revelation, kind of considered to be the best card in the format. And yet, this Black Red Zombie deck just not going away.
Yeah. And, you know, people make the argument for the best card in the format. It's a conversation that you can certainly have with many different cards. Personally, I think that Falkenrath Aristocrat is the best card in Standard right now and has been for quite a few months, because for all of these decks, every time someone